Hello, everyone. This is Anthony Skopatz talking to you from JupyterCon this year, and I'm happy to welcome my co-host, Jim. Jim, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Weiss. I work for NumFocus, the nonprofit that supports open source computer programming, including one of our favorite tools, Jupyter. And so we are here talking with Josh Patterson, and we're very excited for it.
Yeah, we're super excited to talk to Josh, who's a senior director of engineering at NVIDIA, all about the Rapid stack and GPU computing and how that intersects with Jupyter. So we have a couple interview questions here. But Josh, is there more you wanted to introduce yourself with, or
No,
anything else?
Anthony, that was great. As you said, Senior Director of Engineering at NVIDIA. I lead Rapids. Rapids is just our ever-growing GPU accelerated data science accelerator. And our goal is really to build bridges to the whole data science ecosystem. So whether it's machine learning, deep learning, ETL, stream processing, graph analytics, and even visualization. And so I'm really excited to be here. I'm a huge believer in the PyData space, and I love what NumFocus has been doing.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you, and the Rapid stack is just so impressive and how it's grown over the past couple of years. It's really cool to see, and it's really great that you're here at JupyterCon this year. For our first question, how is NVIDIA, the NVIDIA Deep Learning Institute, leveraging Jupyter? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we fully believe in a great user experience and a user interface, and so all of our deep learning courses they use Jupyter as kind of the way that students interact with the backend system and how they learn about not only deep learning but Python, accelerated Python, CUDA, and many other things. So we really just view Jupyter as a really great front door into all things that are accelerated computing.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Jupyter is the front door to data science. I really like it.
I mean, it really is. I mean, like
it is.
Project, yeah. You're like, do you have Jupyter integration? And it's just so standard now. You don't even think about it. But it's just a great way for people to just kind of spin up a notebook and just start trying things out. And then you have really, nice ways to document what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You can reveal text. You can embed widgets, whether they're visualization or other things. And so it's just a really great entry point into data science.
Yeah. And aside from data science, or maybe inclusive of it, how do you see that Jupyter is helping NVIDIA to drive innovation, either internally or externally with your clients and customers? Like, what does that story look like? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, from supercomputing centers all the way to people who buy a data science workstation or even just a GeForce card and want to go between gaming and compute. We really see that people want to just kind of quickly do what they want to do, what they're passionate about. And so for even really large scale users, they don't want to be bogged down with the engineering intricacies of different things. And they just want to kind of get in, do their life's work, and to do it fast.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I love when, we're talking with people, who are talking about 2,000 node clusters or 10,000 node clusters and interacting with them from a Jupyter notebook. And our customers, they're large scale computing customers. They're gamers, they're enterprises, and so it's a very diverse set of users. But the common thing is people want to get things done quickly, and I think that engaging developers holistically with a straightforward and kind of direct approach that Jupyter Notebooks brings, I think really kind of allows us to get past engineering things and get to innovation and breakthroughs and science. And so it really just kind of, accelerates the wheel to move faster.
Right. Yeah. It really helps lift people up into this space in a way where they don't need all of the technical nitty gritty about writing CUDA code or other things. It's very impressive. So absolutely. What are some of the fun cutting edge projects that you could tell us about that are going on at NVIDIA right now?
Well, so I'm completely inundated with Rapids,
Uh-huh.
but I always have to talk about one of my favorite projects in NVIDIA. What Brian Cantanzaro is doing with DLSS, I just think that's just magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have never been more impressed with gaming meets science. And I recently had a blog out about, basically connecting remote GPUs, very easily. It was using Tailscale. But the main thing was basically just, here's how you can use your remote GPU, Jupyter, and whatever mobile device you want, and kind of, do data science anywhere. And at the start of the blog, I talked about my gaming history, old school LAN parties, Warcraft 3,
Yep.
and shout out to Tucker. Me and him were 2v2, top 100 at one point in our lives. So
that's a bit of trivia you don't get anywhere else here.
Exactly. And so I've always been a gamer. I'll never forget day one of NVIDIA. I'm walking through the hallways and I see this massive poster of Thrall and Building R. And then you see the gaming lab where you see all these rigs and it's it's just gorgeous. And I'm like, this is a great place to be. HPC, crazy pro viz, like CAD stuff going on. And then you see a poster of Thrall, like right there in the hallway. And so, always been a fan of gaming. And I think just DLSS is just, amazing. The whole idea of using deep learning to understand how graphics work so you can upscale, render at a lower resolution and then upscale that in time and get, 60 frames per second, this like really beautiful ray trace, gaming experience. And so I think that's the coolest thing going on at NVIDIA, bar none. I have nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing. I'm just a pure end recipient of the awesomeness. What I spend most of my time is on Rapids. And so, Rapids, we have a lot of projects. cuDF for data frames, QML for machine learning, cuGraph for graph analytics, cuSignal that mimics SciPy signal, cuSpatial. That's that's actually a really interesting point. There's really no here's the one Python geospatial library.
Right.
There's several of them, and so I would say it's probably somewhere closer to GeoPandas, but not exactly. There's a lot of cu something libraries. And honestly, just building more bridges to different spaces. We recently just had a subware tokenizer, and it's quickly rising in the ranks of our blogs of really cool things because it's like rapid subware tokenizer, Hugging Face, and it's just really simple, really good interop between the two, and it's really fast. So it's much faster than the Python Hugging Face tokenizer. Even faster than their Rust tokenizer as well. But we're not, trying to compete with them because what we want to show is here's how you can do what you're doing in Hugging Face just by leveraging the GPU more, do it faster, and then all the great models that Hugging Face has already produced, we just tie them in seamlessly. And so we're really, really big on building more bridges into the ecosystem. I think that's the thing that excites me the most about Rapids is building the bridges, connecting more and more libraries, moving more and more to the GPU. So library developers don't have to think about these things.
Right. Yeah. And I really love how community facing Rapids is and tries to interact and interop with everyone. It's really great. Is there anything else about Rapids that you wanted to bring up today?
So, we're really pushing on functionality and scale. I think, people are very clear that it's fast. We're keep making it faster. Don't get me wrong. But we're really focusing on scale and interoperability and functionality. We have a lot of multi-node, multi-GPU algorithms. Speaking of that, cuGraph, for instance, we have in 0.16 that's coming out in a few weeks. We're going to have a new PageRank algorithm for multi-node, multi-GPU, breadth first search. The other thing is we're going to be able to accept a network X data frame. And so if you have a network X graph, you can just basically call a cuGraph function directly on that. And everything just happens behind the scenes. And so people have a whole NetworkX workflow, and all they really want to do is make PageRank faster. That can just happen. And so we really want to make sure that we have good interoperability with NetworkX, as well as kind of exposing new functionality. There's one thing I always love to talk about is NV Dashboard. We released that in the end of 2019, and it's our most popular blog. And it's kind of the most used thing that's not a strict part of Rapid. So even with people who are just using PyTorch or TensorFlow or MXNet, just knowing what's going on their GPU. So it just plugs into Jupyter, seamlessly. And it allows you to monitor your GPUs. How much are you using in memory? What's the GPU utilization? Are you using NVLink? How are data getting passed between the different GPUs? So it's really just a dashboard widget for making sure that you're maximizing your GPU performance and monitoring your system.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest extensions out there. I've used it at QuantSight a bunch. It's really fun. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's nice. Yeah, it's really well done. NV Dashboard is great. And I guess just to start to close out here, can you tell us why NVIDIA considers it important to have this kind of leadership role inside, for both broadly the open source ecosystem, but also for, Jupyter and Jupyter Lab and with NumFocus and all these other projects that you depend on. So.
Yeah. So actually, Jim, if you want to hop off mute, just like off the top of your head, how many NumFocus projects are there?
Oh man, we're onboarding projects every day, so I think we're at 35. And don't quote me on the website, because we're trying to get them on the website as fast as we onboard them. But I think we're at 35 these days. And so NVIDIA is a corporate sponsor of NumFocus itself. So it really plays a leadership role in that sense. And we really appreciate that partnership. And not only has NVIDIA sponsored JupyterCon and PyData conferences all around the world, you're also supporting open source generally. So again, we appreciate that. So we're always interested to hear why the companies find it so important to kind of play that leadership role.
Well, I think you just nailed it. I mean, there's 35 and growing projects. We want to build bridges to the whole PyData ecosystem. And so you all support a significant chunk of them financially, and also through like technical stewardship and mentorship and connecting them to other types of institutions to get funding. And so we also want to make sure that they know that NVIDIA is here for different technological support, GPU acceleration. I mean, we'll take that somewhat for granted, but we have a ton of primitive libraries that are just waiting to get kind of plumbed up through the different layers, whether it's Python or PyBind or what have you, into kind of just these simple end user APIs. So people can do what they want to do. And so we want to make sure that we're working with all these different projects that, we're helping them grow their community, grow their performance, and just make sure that everything works with NVIDIA GPUs. And so I think it's really important to be a part of this, large and growing community. I mean, Python is really just becoming pervasive, enterprise and scientific computing. And so we just want to make sure that, we're staying aware of what's going on and being, a good, steward of the community.
Yeah, I really feel that you have been. So it is great that you're here at JupyterCon 2020, and I think NumFocus and the rest of the community really look forward to continuing to work with NVIDIA going forward into 2021 and many years to come after that. So any final thoughts from you, Josh, that you want to communicate, or Jim?
Yeah.
All right.
Let you go, Josh. We're just excited for JupyterCon. First year we're doing this online event. We're so excited about it. And I just want to thank Josh one more time. I'm going to let him have the last word.
Thank you. We're excited about JupyterCon. We have a few talks and tutorials at JupyterCon. Around the same time, there's also GTC. And so, people jump into JupyterCon, listen to all the tracks. I think there's some really exciting things going on at JupyterCon. And then, later on, GTC is global. And so we're just kind of all getting into this groove of global conferences and online conferences. And so we're just really excited to kind of just close out the year with a bunch of really great content.
Hear, hear. And I think with that, we'll wish everyone a very happy JupyterCon 2020, and hope to see you at the NVIDIA talks and all the other talks this exciting virtual conference this year. So thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.